The story of the Longbottom family is one of the most heartbreaking and inspiring in the entire Harry Potter universe. It doesn't get much attention in the films, but once you really noticed it in the books, it adds a whole new layer of emotion and depth. This is a story not just about magic and bravery, but about what it means to quietly endure, to keep putting one foot in front of the other even when your heart is broken. Frank and Alice Longbottom were extraordinary Aurors and true heroes in the original Order of the Phoenix. During the First Wizarding War, they fought on the front lines, standing shoulder to shoulder with the most powerful and principled witches and wizards. Their courage and integrity made them well known, so much so that when Voldemort fell, his followers went after the Longbottoms out of revenge. After Voldemort's defeat, Frank and Alice were ambushed by Death Eaters, including Bellatrix Lestrange. They tortured the Longbottoms with the Cruciatus Curse, hoping to get information on Voldemort's whereabouts, but Frank and Alice never said a word. Instead, they paid the ultimate price, their minds. Those tortures destroyed everything about them that made them who they were. Frank and Alice didn't die, but what happened to them was almost worse. Their bodies survived, but their minds and memories were just gone. They ended up spending the rest of their lives at St. Mungo's Hospital, unable to recognize their own son, Neville. And this is where Neville's and Harry's stories suddenly feel so much like each other, and yet completely different. Harry lost his parents too, because of Voldemort. But for Harry, his parents are a loving, faint memory, a photo, a story. Neville's parents are physically present. He can see them and even hold their hands. But in some ways, his loss is even more painful. Every visit to St. Mungo's is an awkward mix of tenderness and heartbreak. One of the most powerful scenes is when Neville's mother wordlessly gives him the empty wrapper from a piece of candy. She just made a sort of soft, whimpering noise, held something out to Neville, and let it fall into his hand. A Drubal's Best Plowing Gum. Wrapper. Before they left, Harry saw Neville slip the wrapper quietly into his pocket. Neville is one of the quietest, most humble heroes of the entire series, constantly carrying this weight around with him. He's raised by his grandmother, Augusta Longbottom. Tough, strict, sometimes even intimidating. She believes the only way to honor what happened to her son and daughter-in-law is to raise Neville to be worthy of them. So her expectations are sky high. If you laze around, you'll never be an Auror like your parents, she'd remind him.
For Neville's gran, everything is about dignity and family legacy. She's coping with her own pain by trying to make Neville strong, even if sometimes it comes off a little harsh. Deep down, though, her love for Neville is obvious in her fierce pride and constant reminders that, no matter what, he should be proud of who his parents were. You should be proud of them, Neville. Proud! There's something really interesting about how Gran treats Neville. She's secretly frustrated by his forgetfulness and his awkwardness. Part of her wishes he was more like Frank and Alice. But at the same time, she tries to make Neville stronger, harder, more resilient. Because of this, Neville grows up gentle and sensitive, but, under the surface, one of the most courageous kids at Hogwarts. This quiet strength is what lets Neville step into the spotlight when it really matters. Throughout his time at Hogwarts, everyone sees him as the clumsy kid who always forgets things. Even his greatest fear takes the shape of Professor Snape, who ends up wearing one of Gran's old dresses in a defense against the dark arts lesson. But again and again, Neville proves that there's real, deep, incredible courage inside him. When the final battle for Hogwarts comes, Neville faces Voldemort himself. Even Voldemort notes how brave and pure-blooded Neville is, inviting him to join the Death Eaters. But Neville's response says it all. "I'll join you when hell freezes over. Dumbledore's army." He's not the boy who lived, not the chosen one, not the kid in the prophecy, But his personal fight is just as real, just as meaningful. If Harry was raised on stories about heroes, Neville was raised with the memory of real, quiet bravery, of people almost everyone else forgot. And every choice Neville makes costs him something. The parallel between Harry and Neville is so powerful, but so subtle. Harry's life is on display. He gets the headlines, the prophecy, the spotlight. Neville lives in the background, but his battle is no less heroic. Yes, Harry lost his family in an instant, but Neville lives every day with their absence, and in some ways, their presence. It's like an old wound that never really heals, and yet, somehow, that's the source of his strength, too. The Longbottoms remind us what it means to be truly resilient. True heroism isn't always about defeating evil in some grand, dramatic way. Sometimes it's about just getting up every day, doing your best, and holding on to hope and love for the people you care about, no matter what. It's easy for the world to focus on famous heroes. It's much harder, but just as important, to see the quiet strength of those in the background. The real magic in this story isn't flashy. It's in love, endurance, and never letting darkness erase the memory of good people.